ॐ गणानां गणपतिगं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पता न शृण्वन्नोतिभिस्सेदसादनम् ॐ श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। सरस्वत्यै नमो नित्यं भद्रकाले नमो नमः। वेदवेदान्तवेदाङ्ग विद्यास्थानेभ्यैव च सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्तिः पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे सुकतातं तपोनिधिं। व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। अचतुर्वदनो ब्रह्मा विबाहुरपरो हरिः अभाललोचनः शम्भुः भगवान् बादरायणः। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। 64th Sutra. Please repeat. Divadhyayatanam svashabda muktopasripya vyapadesha nanumanam atachabda pranamritcha भेद व्यपदेशाद प्रकरणा स्थित्यदनाभ्यां च भूमा संप्रसादाद्युपदेशात् धर्मोपपत्तेश्च अक्षरमम्बरान्तत्रतेः सा च प्रशासनात् अन्यभावव्यावृत्तेश्च ईक्षति कर्मव्यपदेशात् सः ईक्षति कर्मव्यपदेशात् सः We'll lead. Page 275. Parameva Brahma iha abhidhyatavyam upadishyate kasmat ईक्षते कर्म व्यपदेशात् ईक्षतिर्दर्शनम् दर्शनव्याप्यम् ईक्षति कर्म ईक्षति कर्मत्वेन अस्य विद्यातव्यस्य पुरुषस्य वाक्यशेषे व्यपदेशो भवति स एतस्मात् जीवघनात् परात् परं पुरुषयम् पुरुषमीक्षते इति तत्राभिध्यायतेः तथाभूतमपि वस्तु कर्म भवति मनोरथकल्पितस्य अपि अभिध्यायतः कर्मात् अभिध्यायति कर्मत्वात् ईक्षतेस्तु तथा भूतमेव वस्तु लोके कर्मदृष्टमिति अतः परमात्मा एव अयं सम्यक् दर्शन विषयभूतः ईक्षति कर्मत्वेन व्यपदिष्ट इति गम्यते स एव च इह परपुरुष शब्दाभ्याम् अभिध्यातव्यः प्रत्यभिज्ञायते ननु अभिध्याने परः पुरुषः उक्तः ईक्षणे तु परात् परः कथम् इतरत्र प्रत्यभिज्ञायत इति अत्रोच्यते परपुरुष शब्दौ तावत् उभयत्र साधारणौ न च अत्र जीवघन शब्देन प्रकृतः अभिध्यातव्यः परः पुरुषः परामृश्यते येन तस्मात् परात् परः अयमीक्षितव्यः पुरुषोऽन्यः स्यात् कस्तर्हि जीवघन इति उच्यते घनो मूर्तिः जीवलक्षणो घनो जीवघनः सैन्धव खिल्यवत्यः परमात्मनो जीवरूपः खिल्यभावः उपाधिगतः परश्च विषेन्द्रियेभ्यः सूत्रजीवगण इति अपरः स सामभिरुन्नीयते ब्रह्मलोकम् इति अतीतानन्तरवाक्यनिर्दिष्टो यो ब्रह्मलोकः परश्च लोकान्तरेभ्यः सूत्रजीवघन इत्युच्यते। जीवानां हि सर्वेषां करण परिवर्तानां वृत्तानां सर्वकरणात्मनि हिरण्यगर्भे ब्रह्मलोकनिवासिनी संघातोपपत्तेः भवति ब्रह्मलोको जीवघनः तस्मात् परो यः परमात्मा ईक्षणकर्मभूतः स एवाभिध्यानेऽपि कर्मभूत इति गम्यते। परं पुरुषम् इति च विशेषणं परमात्म परिग्रह एव अवकल्पते। परो हि पुरुषः परमात्मा एव भवति यस्मात् परं किंचित् अन्यत् नास्ति। पुरुषान्न परं किंचित् सा काष्ठा सा परागतिः इति च श्रुत्यन्तरात्। परं च ब्रह्म यदोंकारः इति च विभज्य अनन्तरम् ओंकारेण परं पुरुषम् अभिध्यातव्यं ब्रुवन् परमेव परं पुरुषं गमयति। यथा पादोदरः त्वचा विनिर्मुच्यत एवं हवै स पाप्मना विनिर्मुच्यते इति पाप्म विनिर्मोक फलवचनम् परमात्मानम् इह अभिध्यातव्यं सूचयति। अथ यदुक्तं परमात्माभिध्यायिनो न देशपरिच्छिन्नं फलं युज्यते। परमात्माभिध्यायिनः न देशपरिच्छिन्नं फलं युज्यते। अत्रोच्यते त्रिमात्रेण ओंकारेण आलम्बनेन परमात्मानम् अभिध्यायतः फलम् ब्रह्मलोक प्राप्ति क्रमेण च सम्यक् दर्शनोत्पत्तिः इति। क्रम मुक्ति अभिप्रायम् एतद् भविष्यति इति अदोषः अदोषः। We had completed the Ikshati Karma Vyapadeshat Saha, this sutra, and we were dealing with the Purupaksh portion. And you saw yesterday, Purupaksh had put 2 points. One point of Purupaksh was, just for your revision, I already told that this mantra of the Prashnopanishad 5.5 has 2 parts. When the Satyakama had asked Pippalad Rishi about the Omkara, and in that there were 2 parts. One is called Dhyan portion of that mantra, other is called Phal portion of that mantra, Dhyan Phalam. So Dhyan Vakyam and Dhyan Phal Vakyam, you can say. So the contention of Purupaksh was that here the Hiranyagarbha is the object of meditation, whereas Bhagavan Vedavyasa is trying to establish that meditation is on the Paramatma. When it is said Hiranyagarbha means Sopadhik Ishwar, and Paramatma means Nirupadik Ishwar without Desh Kal. This point was the contention on which this sutra is based on. So Bhagavan Vedavyasa told that if you see at the end of the Phalam, it was mentioned as Param Purusham Ikshate. He means the Upasak sees the Param Purusham or the Paramatma. If he sees the Paramatma, that means he must have done Upasana of the Paramatma, because as per the Upasana, he has gone to Brahmalok, and after going to Brahmalok, he had the knowledge of the Paramatma. To this point, Purupaksh came with 2 points. He said that in the Phalvakyam, there are 2 Param Purush mentioned. One Param Purush is a straight mention which is clearly seen. But there is another Param Purush called Parat Param. Parat is the adjective for the Parat Purushat. And therefore, superior to that Purush is this Param Purush. There are 2 Purush. One is the Parat Purushat. Purushat is supplied. And other is clearly written the Param Purusha. He says this Parat Purusha is Hiranyagarbha. Superior than the Hiranyagarbha is this Param Purusha. And therefore in the Phalvakyam, the Param Purusha, what you are using the argument, that because in the Phal there is a Param Purush mentioned, therefore he has contemplated on the Param Purusha. So I have my own point that in the Phalvakyam, 2 Param Purusha are mentioned. then he could have meditated on any one of them. Therefore, your argument of meditation is not holding sufficient waters. This was his first point. Then he says, I am repeating it because this argument are little subtle. He says that in the Phalvakyam, the Brahmalok word has been used, that he attained Brahmalok. If he attains Brahmalok, that means Hiranyagarbha, that means he must have done Hiranyagarbha Upasana. Second argument he gives is as per the pronoun argument. What is the pronoun argument? He says that this Param Purusha number 1 is in fifth case and Param Purusha number 2 is in second case. Because the pronoun is used for this Purush, Param Purusham number 1, Etasmat Purushat. So one which is preceding the Etasmat should be the Dhyan Vakyam Purush, because this is Hiranyagarbha and this has to be preceded by the noun which will be Hiranyagarbha only. These are the two Purupaksh which was mentioned and I explained it yesterday. So Bhashyakar is giving now 5 points. 2 is in support of refuting and 3 in support of establishing. How he refuted? He said, your first point, where you said that Brahmalok he reached, you should see that he reached Brahmalok as an intermediary step and not the finally he reached Brahmalok. After Brahmalok he reached the Param Purusham. Why don't you understand this point? You are reading only half. Because there are 3 steps. He did Upasana, he reached Brahmalok, and he reached after that he had the knowledge of the self. If only Brahmalok was there, it was not mentioned that he has known the self, then I would have agreed with your point. But the Upanishad is clearly mentioning that Purusham Ikshate, and therefore Brahmalok was the intermediary step and not the final step. So try to read the whole mantra as it is. So Paramatma Upasanena Paramatma Gyan Phalam Natu Brahmalok Prapti. If he had done only Hiranyagarbha Upasana, then he would have stopped at Brahmalok. As is the Upasana, so is the fruit. He didn't want the Gyan. So, A Brahma Bhona Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. If you remember, I had told there are 2 kinds of Brahmalok. You should remember that. In Gita, Bhagavan says, this question may come. They say after reaching Brahmalok, you don't come back. And Gita says, A Brahma Bhona Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. So there are 2 categories of Brahmalok. One Brahmalok is there in which there is a return. Which Brahmalok has returned? Which Brahmalok has returned? In which knowledge has not taken place. The Upasak did not want the knowledge. He contemplated only on Brahmalok and he stayed there. And when his punya got over, he will come back again. He is not in Kram Mukti. He is only Lok Prapti. But certain Upasak was there who did not want the Brahmalok. He wanted liberation. And he was not prepared enough or qualified enough to contemplate on the oneness of Atma and Brahman. He stopped at the Paroksh Gyan level and he started contemplating on the Brahma only, without oneness of Atma and Brahman. He didn't go through Shravan, Manan and Dhyan process. He only heard about the Upasana, that there is some Brahman which is beyond time and space, and I am different from that Brahman. And he did the Upasana of that Brahman. But in his mind, this is an important point, in his mind, there was a desire complete to get liberated or to know the self. He didn't want to enjoy the lok there. He contemplated on the Brahman not as oneness of Atma with Brahman. He was not Vedant Adhikari. He was Upasana Adhikari. Therefore, he didn't read Upanishads or didn't hear, or even if he heard, he didn't do Manan and Dhyan on that, on Atma Brahma Aikya. Now, such a seeker, I am calling him seeker because he wants liberation. Such a seeker, he went to Brahmalok. And after going to Brahmalok, because he had a desire to get out of the birth and death, and therefore there he had been taught the Brahma Gyan. And then he got liberated and merged. This is clear, I hope. Not clear. Now this is the student. If he had only meditated on Hiranyagarbha, then he would not be forced to hear about Brahmagyan. Brahmagyan is not for someone who has not desired for that. Therefore, I had somewhere mentioned in our classes that Brahmalok is of two categories. Because there is a point where from Brahmalok there is a return. In Bhagavad, in second canto, let me see who can discover this. In second or third chapter it is written that those who are in Brahmalok, right, they are identified to the whole Brahmand. So they see the people of Martilok or Prithvilok. And they see they are suffering a lot because of their attachment, because of their ahankar, because of their aversion. And you know what they do? They want to come back to redeem the people. It's a very big desire. And many saints therefore come back from Brahmalok. Many saints are there. They come back to from Brahmalok to Prithvilok. Because seeing the saint, you can make it out which lok he could have been earlier. If the effect is very big, the cause also will be very big. These saints are not ordinary saints. If Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can come back, then he must be from Golok only. He is not ordinary Jeev, whose devotion is so enhanced and whose effect is so big in this world. So many organizations have started, so many people have started taking Hare Krishna name. So he must have come from very big lok. Their avatar Purush. Vivekananda Swami is there. They say he also came from Brahmalok. And I'm not surprised. So they come back to redeem. Again they go to Brahmalok. And they may be Jnanis also. But they have to merge with the sleep of Brahmaji, therefore they will merge with that. Or they will go from here straight to the self. They may not go to Brahmalok. But Brahmalok has a capacity to, a Jeev in the Brahmalok has a capacity to come back, work with the people here again, take some body and again go back or merge back in the self, in Brahmalok or after coming here. So this Upasak, because he has the knowledge Purusham Ikshate, this is what makes the whole sentence different. Therefore, he was not a Upasak of Hiranyagarbha. He was the Upasak of Paramatma Gyan. Therefore, he got the Paramatma Gyan. Of what you are aiming at, you will get it after some time. This is one law. That what sankalp you have, what sankalp, you may fail once, twice, thrice, 100 times, 1,000 times, 2 births, 4 births, 10 births, but you will get it. This is a law. Because he got the knowledge of the self. And if you don't want something, you won't get it also. This is also one law. Somebody said, I never got Guru. I said, you didn't think sufficiently. You have never desired Guru, number 1. Number 2, all you desired and you have not done punya to get that Guru. It is not an accident. Or you have desired, you did punya, but correspondingly you did some sins also through which that appearance of teacher in your life was obstructed. And after this pap is over, you will get. One person went to Dev Baba. He said, I have no Guru. He said, I am giving you mantra 6 months you do jap. So he did jap for 6 months on Gayatri mantra. Not 1 mala or 2 mala. When Buddha Baba said, he will say long mantras are there. They are not satisfied with a small upasana. That half mala, 1 mala, they will ask to do for 3-4 hours of jap. And he told that do so many 20-30 malas, and he got it. Why? You do the action, you do sankalp. I think last night also I had mentioned Ichha, then Vihit Kriya. Tivritsa and Vihit Kriya for a long time, the ordained action you do for the long time. And don't do any prohibited action in between. Sometimes Anushthan a person is doing something. And during Anushthan he gets angry. So that fruit of that Anushthan is disturbed. So Raja Prithu was doing yajna in Bhagavad. So Indra stole the horse. When Indra stole the horse, he got angry. So the Brahman or the priest who were conducting, he said, you have already taken a vow of doing the yajna. You are disturbing your sankalp actually. When you have taken one sankalp, one vow, so you don't disturb that vow because that thought is going to become concrete. When you entertain one higher thought for a long time and you do the action, I'm repeating it, and do the ordained action for a long time understand, without diverting here and there, then that Ichha becomes an object. If you go here and there, then your Ichha will be dull. Anger means you have other thought. You are entertaining another thought which is adharmic thought. So this fruit of adharmic thought will cut the main sankalp. Adharm means what? Adharm means obstructor. It is obstructing the fruit. Because the one who has to give the fruit, he is He is not that pleased with your this kind of attitude. And therefore he left the thought. He left the anger. Who? Prithu Raja. 4th canto it comes. Learn to hear Bhagavad in its detail. You are saying how I am taking the Bhagavad in the evening class. Different way. So that you are clear about that. You cannot say, no, I did not get it. I didn't get, nobody tell me. Or, I had no idea. You don't say all these things. Or I am weak. Or you are weak, you can become strong. Weakest can become strongest. Most cruel can become most, softest. Like Valmiki. You know how Valmiki Ramayana started? I told you. Valmiki Ramayana. You didn't know how he started. He was the first poet. You must have forgotten now. But Valmiki Ramayana started. The same Valmiki who used to kill, and he was a murderer. One after his tapasya, there was two birds were there, mating birds were there. And one hunter came and he shot one of the birds. One bird fell down and it got killed. Now he couldn't see. His mind became very sensitive. Sage Valmiki. And then he said to that hunter that you have killed that. Ma Nishad. That slok he said after that. So that person who was so insensitive and callous and hard person, he became so sensitive to now that he became the author of the first poem called Ramayana. So original Ramayana is Valmiki Ramayana only. All other Ramayana came as a subserpentine, and based on Valmiki Ramayana is all other Ramayana. Okay, no? Which you heard. So if he was targeting, he means this Upasak was targeting only the lok, he wouldn't have got the knowledge then. He had only lok in his mind, because you get what you had in your mind. System is not forcefully give you something which you have not asked for. This is the first argument which was refuted. Try to contemplate on Brahma Sutra. It has many, many leaves in one sutra, which you have to pick it out for yourself. Second point, what he said, that, he said Etasmat word is there, which refers to the Brahma, the Upasana. Etasmat is for Hiranyagarbha. Mahashikar said, bhai, dekho, you are jumping the guns. Before Etasmat, Brahmalok is coming. You did not see the Brahmalok word. You straight away went to the Dhyan Vyavakyam. Therefore, here one should meditate on Paramatma. I hope this is pronoun refers to Phal Vakyastha Hiranyagarbha. Pronoun refers, Etasmat refers to the Brahmalok which has just come before the Etasmat. I had taken this point here. Now this is the second argument. We had seen this yesterday. Now third argument which we have not seen, third, fourth and fifth, I'll go through it and then I try to see the Bhashya once more. What is the third point? Third point is said. Purvapaksh pointed out that in Phalvakyam, Param Purusha is used to indicate Hiranyagarbha as well as Paramatma also. Listen to this. In the Purvapaksh pointed out that in the Phalvakyam, there are two Param Purusha is there. it is indicating Hiranyagarbha also as well as Paramatma also. We say it should not be Hiranyagarbha, it should be Paramatma alone. Why? Because when in the Phalvakya, I'm using such words now. Suryet, Tejasi Sampanna, from there Phalvakya is starting. And one part is there where he said that he abhidhyayita parampurusha abhidhyayita onkar matrena. So that is the dhyan vakyam. I can use these words now. So when Purupaksh says that in the Phalvakyam, Parampurusha is used to indicate Hiranyagarbha, then what is the problem? Can you make it out? That word Parapurusha, which is used to refer Hiranyagarbha, we find that it is not fully used in Phalvakya. Who will explain how it is not fully used? How it is not fully used? You can see your book and then tell me. By the time I can rest. And you can work it out. In the Phalvakyam, the word Purush, Parampurush is not fully used. Whereas the word Parampurush for Paramatma is fully used. Bolo bhai. No. You cannot make it out. कोई बोल नहीं रहा है. I am saying the word Parampurusha for Hiranyagarbha is not fully used. Whereas the word Parampurusha for Paramatma is fully used. I am asking how? No. Huh? No, that is the Purusha Mikshadir there. Because Parat word has been used. Purushat word was supplied by the Purusha. That is what is called half used. इसको ध्यान देना. That Parat Param is there. Parat Param. So he said Parat Param. So Parat, he used the word Purushat, he supplied it to make the sentence complete. And here Bhashyakar is saying that Parat word is only half Purush because Purushat word you have supplied. Whereas Param Purusham word is fully mentioned for Paramatma. So Purupaksh has got Ardha Pratyabhigya, whereas the Siddhanti Paksh has got Purna Pratyabhigya. Why? Ardha Pratyabhigya means what? Seeing there, you conclude, oh, it was there also. So here only half word is used, Parat, not Purushat. This is the first argument. This is the third argument. First and second you saw. This is the third. This is not for refuting, this is for establishing. This is for establishing. Now, is it clear? It is more stronger. Something is said completely, it is more stronger. Fourth argument is a simple argument. What is fourth argument saying? That in the Dhyan Vakya, Upanishad says, Param Purusham Abhidhyayita. The Dhyan Vakya, you see, I can mention that Param Purusham Abhidhyayita. And Purupaksh is doubting that Param Purusha is Hiranyagarbha or Parama. In the first part. So Bhashkar says that Param, once it is used, it primarily means the highest. So Param word is used always for superlative degree. So Param means the Supreme Purush. Supreme. Supreme means above that something is not there. At most. So there is only one greatest and biggest, and we know that Hiranyagarbha cannot be greatest and cannot be biggest because it comes. If you know, Hiranyagarbha comes from Prakriti. Hiranyagarbha is not a permanent thing. There is anitya tattva with Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha is associated with non-permanency. And therefore it cannot be superior most. First we have to take the direct meaning called Mukhyartha. And if you fail in taking the Mukhyartha, then only you go to secondary meaning. Secondary meaning, that is called Yogic Artha. So first you see the Rudhi Artha. And then only you can see the Yogic Artha. So Param word in the Dhyan Vakya is indicating the highest Paramatma. So that there you stop. So Dhyan Vakya, when it says Param Purusha Vidhyayeta Param Purusham, so it is said that may you meditate on the Paramatma through the Onkar symbol. So why should you think about Hiranyagarbha when Param Purusha is giving the direct meaning? So Mukhyarthasya Paramarthatvat Param Purusham iti Paramatma eva bhavitum arhati. Because this is Param Purusha, this Mukhyartha eva Paramarthatvat. This is telling about the Paramatma. And therefore, Param Purusha iti Paramatma eva bhavitum arhati. It should be Param Purusha only. And the Kathopanishad mantra, you remember that? Indriyebhya parayarthaha. Arthebhyascha param manaha. Manasastu paro para buddhi. Yo buddhe paradastu saha. So, Indriyebhya parayarthaha arthebhyascha param manaha manasastu para buddhi. Buddhe mahan mahata buddhe. Buddheratma mahan paraha. Mahata param avyaktam avyaktat purusha para. Purushanna param kinchit sa kashtha sa paragati. बस कुछ तो याद करना पड़ेगा. Without by hearting, you will have only heart. So that won't work. These are important mantras. Kathopanishad, what it says there? Param has three meaning. Who? Jaldi bolo. Param means innermost. Innermost and closest are same. Pratyak, same. All three words are same. Pratyak means innermost. Second, subtle, sukshma, third, all pervading. So good, you all combine together. So this way we support each other. Three meanings were there. You should know it. This is not right. You have to get into the subject. When you're given your life for sadhana, so your life should be, whole day should be sadhana oriented. You cannot say morning I am seeker, evening I am sansari. It's not like that. Because you have no other work. Neither you have to cook, neither you have to fetch children, neither you have to earn money. So you have been freed from all other duties, only to concentrate on the truth only. So in your schedule, try to put 10 minutes for just Parayana or Bhashya. Like some of you have put schedule, Sanskrit schedule, chanting schedule. Chanting is there, Gita chanting, Ramayana chanting, Stotras chanting. So give little time for that also. ऐसे नहीं काम चलेगा. It's a life of tapasya. It's a difficult life. See, every day I have to talk and it's different topics. Different angles are there. It's a tapasya which is required. Word won't come out otherwise. You have to do austerity. Param word had three meanings. One was pratyak or innermost. Second was subtlest. Subtlest means one who has lesser properties. And third is pervading. And in this chronological manner, Kathopanishad, I think it is the 1.3. You can check it. 1.3. Third valli of the first chapter. And in that, it is mentioned that subtler than the, or more param than the sense organ is the sense object. Not that, because your sense object has the meaning of subtle sense object. Subtler than the sense object is the mind. Subtler than the mind is the intellect. Subtler means all three. Subtler, more pervasive and more inner. And subtler than the, or more, let us use the word param. More param than the mind is the intellect. And I'm not going to explain that mantra. That mantra you have to go. More param than the intellect is the total mind called Hiranyagarbha, which I said here, Buddhir Atma Mahan Para. Because that total mind or Hiranyagarbha is more pervasive than individual intellect. He is more closer to the self and it is more subtlest. Subtlest than the total mind is the avyakt or unmanifest. And subtlest than the unmanifest is the Purush, which is Purnatvat, which is Brahman. And there is nothing more. Sa Kasht. Purushana Param Kinchit. There is nothing more subtler and more beyond the Purush. Sa Kashtha, Sa Paragati. That is ultimate, last. Bhaskar is going to quote this. He has quoted here this point, this particular mantra. And therefore, when Param word has been used in the Dhyan Vakyam, so take the Mukhyarth or the direct meaning when there is no problem in taking the primary meaning. This is a fourth argument. First was refuting that only Brahmalok he goes. Second is refuting the pronoun, that we are jumping the pronoun. Third argument was in refuting that only Parat word is coming for Hiranyagarbha, rather Param Purusha word is coming. Fourth argument is telling about the direct meaning Param you should take of Hiranyagarbha in the Dhyan Vakya. And last is very simple. He talks about the phalam of Paramartha Gyan. What was the phalam of Paramartha Gyan? Phalam of this knowledge was that when he attains Sa Tejasi Surya Sampanna Yatha Padodaraha, as the snake leaves its skin. As the snake leaves the skin, this seeker or this upasak leaves all his sin. अब देखो बहुत बड़ी बात बोल दी. If you have seen this, see he has written here. What is the word here? Leaving the sin portion. What is that word here? See, it is written here. Yatha padodaraha tvacha vinirmuchyate evam havaisa papma vinirmuchyate. That means he is free from all the sins. You know where is the whole sin lying? Ignorance. Anybody else? Whole sin is in enjoyership and doership. The sense of enjoyership that is sitting. Kam krodh is enjoyership only. All other sadhana will hold the sin temporarily. Vishya vinivartante. भूलो मत. You revise everything. याद करके भूल जा रहे हो. You have to keep on revising it. Vishya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavardam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. You also say you are by-hearted. You are seeing me, not seeing. So, Vishya vinivartante. If you stop any sense organ, slowly taste of that, you will not feel like having it. What Upanishad says. Wait, let me complete. Vishya vinivartante niraharasya dehina. Supposing you stop eating X thing, dal you stop eating, or rice you stop eating. So automatically you don't feel like eating it. But the Gita is very smart. It says, but taste lingers. It exposes you. Scriptures, you cannot run away. They are very smart. They go into the innermost corners of your mind, where dark corners are there with a big light. And you feel very shy sometimes after hearing. So, Vishya vinivartante niraharasya rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. You have to read Gita. I am emphasizing it every day. Gita is like our mother. Like the child goes to the mother every day. So we have mother like Gita. You have to go to Gita every day. You read one chapter, I don't mind. You read 30 shlokas, I don't mind. You give 5, but you have to go there. No day of your life should pass unless you die, of course. So, where you don't read Gita. And if you can by heart any chapter, compliments to you. And if you are reading chapter, please read loudly. Anyway, so here the Phal Shruti says he is free from all sins. When he is free from all sins, that means he is free from enjoyerships. Not that his enjoyership is temporarily suspended. It will erupt after some time. It needs a certain watering of that and it will come out. Our anger, etc., calm, growth is temporarily suspended. It needs little watering. Somebody, if he little waters your anger, it will all emerge up. The snake is in hibernation. It's like that. It is really like sign. It's like a dead snake. You feel it's like a dead. I think I have no anger now. In Badrinath, one person went and he found one dead snake. So out of fun, he carried that snake. There is dead snake is there. He took it in one basket and brought it in the plains. And there it is totally cold. Badrinath temperature is -1 degree. Who was there this time with me? You were there. So when I went to Badrinath, it was 12 o'clock we reached. I started freezing totally. So cold, so cold. And when I saw on the mobile, temperature was less than 0 degree. And one heater they brought. Heater was as if nothing. Big room and heater, one small heater. How will it heat the whole thing? And then they said, no, 3 o'clock, 3 a.m. You have to go for darshan. I said, I'll go later on. Well, so difficult. And any amount of quilt you put, you will not. Cold was getting more and more with the amount of blanket you are putting. So this snake, you, who has not gone to Badrinath? You have not gone. Manna Bhai had gone. You are also there. You are also. It was very cold, if you remember. 12 o'clock night, which we went there. And this person took the snake out of fun. Don't make fun with the snake. When he came back in his normal plains in Uttar Pradesh, etc., he called his grandson. Well, I brought a surprise now. He didn't know that it is not a dead snake. He opened it, snake jumped over it. Because that snake was, it got the heat and it got alive. There it was dead like that. In hibernation. He said, but it's a neck. It was not dead, my dear. It was hibernating. The frogs, the snakes, they hibernate. You know that, no? When it rains or when there's a season, then they start croaking. But it is not dead. It is all alive. Our calm Krodha are like that. They are hibernating. You need little heat of the moment. And somebody is required to ring the bell. Then you know what the person is. All selflessness, saintliness will evaporate like the dewdrop from the morning sun. You wonder, this is what I hear Upanishad, this is what I am. I read Gita. Sometimes you feel ashamed how bad I am. But here it is said, see what they catch. Here it is said, one who does this upasana, his all sins go away. Not muchyate, not nimuchyate, vinirmuchyate. What is? Vinirmuchyate is there. And therefore fruit is given that he is free from all sins. And freedom from all sins is only possible by having the knowledge and going out of avidya, as you said. From getting out of ignorance forever. Param drishtva nivartate. This is where yoga, philosophy and Vedanta differs. Got my mind? And therefore, those who have not known the self, howsoever greatest saints may be, they may make the mistakes again. Because that enjoyership is not dead. It is temporarily suspended. This is the fifth cause. I hope fifth cause is there. This is the fifth cause. No? Yes. So that means he is a Paramatma Gyan. There is a Phalshruti is there. This completes this sutra. And because this is one Adhikaran has one sutra, therefore whole Adhikaran is over now. But let me put the format, then I want to take you to the Bhashya to make it more clear. Format is very simple. Number 1 point is the subject matter, Vishayaha. So subject matter is this Param Purushaha is the object of meditation in Prashnopanishad 5.5. This is the Vishayaha. And what is the samshaya? Whether this Param Purusha is Paramatma or Hiranyagarbha. In other words, it is Karya Brahma or Karan Brahma. It is Sopadik Brahma or Nirupadik Brahma. This is the samshaya. Purpaksh says this Param Purusha is Hiranyagarbha. And how did he say like that? He says that Brahmalok Prapti is the validity. Hiranyagarbha Prapti. And therefore he must have done Hiranyagarbha Upasana. Two arguments he had given. Siddhanti says that Param Purusha is, this is fourth point. Siddhant, he says that Param Purusha is Paramatma because Paramatma Gyan, Ikshate word has been written. That is a key word. That is a key word. I already explained the word analysis. Ikshati karma vyapadeshat saha. I already explained that. This completes, and the positional justification is there, that we leave it. But these 4 points are already there. This completes this Adhikaran. I think this is the 4th Adhikaran of 3rd chapter. Third path. First chapter, 3rd path, 4th Adhikaran and 13th Sutra. This is the 13th Sutra. So 1.3.4.13. Okay. I have still certain things to talk about that. Although it is over. But I just want to come to Bhashya. Today or tomorrow? Tomorrow we'll see that. Tomorrow I'll come. I'll touch upon few points only. Let me see what is not missed out so that you can be more familiar. Then I will go over to next Adhikaran. But you try to read in your own room. Hari Om, Hari Om. Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om.